Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaitlyn. I'm 35 years old and sharing everything on my journey to becoming a single mom by choice. I have been documenting and sharing everything on my journey, from all of the fertility trials and tribulations, expenses, and everything that goes into this. So I thought if I could help someone who's possibly going through IVF or on the path to becoming a single mom by choice, then that was ultimately my goal. And just to give some people an idea of what the cost is like, unfortunately, my employer's insurance doesn't cover any IVF or fertility coverage, so I'm paying this 100% out of pocket. And I know some of my friends, they may have to do 6 IUIs before their insurance will kick in and cover IVF, and everyone's insurance plans are different. So this is just my perspective. This is just what I'm personally going through and what I'm paying with a large clinic in the DMV area. And while my clinic does offer financing options, I personally opted to open up an interest-free credit card that was good for 15 months. Gave me some cash back as well, knowing I could pay this off within the year and not pay a 10% interest rate. But again, this is just my perspective and what I'm going through based on my personal insurance coverage and the clinic that I'm using. And the programs that are available for me with this clinic may or may not be available in the clinic that you're using. So this is just hopefully helpful, but my perspective. So with any IVF costs, there's really 2 parts to it. There is the clinic cost, if you will, and then there is the cost for the meds. So those are 2 separate things, and I'll break that up separately in this video. My meds and my protocol may be different than your medications and protocol that your clinic lays out for you. So just keep that in mind. So starting off with the cost with the clinic. My clinic offered 2 different programs. Well, they offered more than that, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to focus on just the 2 that I was considering between. The first being a single cycle program, and the second was the shared risk or guaranteed program. So with a single cycle, the cost for the egg retrieval and to create embryos was $11,600 for 1 cycle. On top of that, you would have the $560 anesthesia fee for the retrieval itself. And then I personally wanted to do PGT biopsy and analysis on my embryos. That is something that is elective. You do not have to do that. I personally wanted to do that just to make sure any embryo I was transferring was genetically normal and had the best chance of success. So the biopsy itself was $2,450, and then the analysis was $1,950. With the analysis, that's good for 3 years. So it's kind of a one-time fee, but if I were to do multiple retrievals and multiple embryo creations, I'd have to pay that $2,450 fee each time. On top of that, if each transfer would be $5,800, not including medication. So all in all, if I were to do a single cycle and everything goes great from start to finish, it was $22,360. I have my notes down here, which is a lot of money and to be paying out of pocket. And that's if everything goes smoothly. If you've been following me along on my journey, you'll know that nothing has gone smoothly on this process. And it has been a wild ride of all of these ups and downs. And so that was my concern, right? Am I going to have to do multiple retrievals? Am I going to have to do multiple transfers? Just really trying to make the best decision for myself. My first egg retrieval did not go as well as we had planned, and I was able to freeze 7 eggs, which I know is still a decent number, but it is not what we had previously anticipated. When I had done my egg retrieval to do IVF, we changed my protocol a little bit, and I was actually able to have 18 eggs retrieved and 12 were mature, which ultimately led to 6 normal embryos for me. So I was very, very happy with those results. And knowing that now, I probably would have done a single cycle, but everything happens for a reason. And I do feel like the shared risk program that I ultimately went with gave me that peace of mind that I needed to just relax and not stress out about the cycle as much as I did the first go around. So that leads me to the shared risk program. The shared risk program was a flat fee of $29,000. which I know sounds like a lot of money, but in comparison to the $22,360, that was really not that big of a difference to give me that peace of mind that if for some reason anything happened and I was not able to get pregnant, or I didn't have embryos, or at any point I wanted to pull out of the program, I could, and I could get my money back. If I had embryos frozen, I would only pay for the cost of services rendered. So right now, like I said, I have 6 embryos frozen from that cycle, and if I wanted to get out, I could and get back about $14,000 of my money. So I do have that peace of mind with that shared risk program. Does include the anesthesia, and it does include the PGT biopsy. It does not include the analysis fee, which was $1,950. So overall, it was $30,950. And the way I really looked at it was, am I going to be more upset that I have to do another cycle and I'm continuing to spend money without knowing what's going to happen? Or am I going to be more upset that I spent an extra $8,000 and yet I have my baby? So ultimately, I ended up going with the shared risk program, and I'm still really glad that I did that. Obviously, it's a lot of money, and that was a big commitment. And then, of course, fast forward, life happened and everything is on pause. But again, everything happens for a reason. And I do truly believe that because I spent the extra money on the shared risk, it allowed me to relax in the process and not stress out, which ultimately yielded me better results in that egg retrieval and creating embryos. So for the medication, it's ultimately going to depend on the protocol that your doctor sets you up with. Like I said, my first egg retrieval was not super successful, and I ended up speeding up way too fast with the medication. So this go around, we started me on Lupron for 2 weeks prior to the egg retrieval, and that seemed to work really well. That Lupron was $550 for that one vial that I needed for the two weeks. Then I needed my normal Gonal F and my Menopur for this cycle. I didn't use Ganirelix on this next cycle just because the Lupron was kind of doing its job with keeping me from ovulating. So I needed 3 Gonal F pens of 900 units, basically. That was a total of $1,500. So those are $500 each. My first cycle, I only needed 700 units for the pens, and I needed 2 of those. So that dosage got upped this go around. So I spent $1,500 in my Gonal, and then I had a little bit of Menopur left over from my last go around. So I only ordered 1 box. 1 box was $434, but I did ultimately end up using, I think I used another box or 2 of my Menopur. And then they put me on Pregnal HCG for a trigger, which was $192. So that is just the cost of the meds there. Again, it's going to depend on your protocol. It's going to depend on a variety of different factors. And again, I had some medication left over from the last go around. I can't exactly remember now at this point how many vials of Menopur I went through. And I'm really sorry. If you have questions, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will try to find that after posting this video. Just a couple of other things that you may have to do when you are considering IVF. So obviously on my journey to becoming a single mom by choice, I had to buy donor sperm as well. The donor sperm was $1,495 per vial. I only needed 1 vial for the IVF. In that process, though, I did buy 5. I had 3 for my IUIs and then 1 for IVF. I did end up selling 1 back to the sperm bank, so that was good. Also, Bentley, really? Also, genetic testing. If you were using a sperm donor or with your partner, you probably will have to go through genetic testing. My genetic testing was $1,958.85. My insurance paid some of that. So ultimately, I was left out of pocket with $425.33 for the genetic testing. I also did a saline sonogram, which was just a $50 copay. My initial consultation with my clinic, obviously before I did my initial egg retrieval and my IUIs, that was only a $50 copay. But then you also had genetic counseling on top of that, which was $120. But that's kind of where we are at from a cost standpoint. Also then keep in mind too, if you're not doing a transfer right away, or you are doing have more embryos to store, you'll pay a monthly storage fee. My clinic is now $80 a month for monthly storage. And right now I have a lot of things that are in storage, so trying to figure out what my next plan is. So I have 7 eggs. I have 1 more vial of sperm that they used since they only used a small portion of it for my IVF. So I still have a vial of sperm being stored at the clinic, and then I have my 6 embryos. So I'm paying a lot of money right now in storage fees, but I think it's all worth it, and I have options for the future. And so for that, I'm very grateful. I'll probably discard the sperm once I figure out when a transfer works, and depending on how many embryos I have left at that point. I will obviously keep my eggs frozen for a few more years and then keep the embryos as well. But that's everything from a cost standpoint, so it's very costly. At this point, I am sick to say that I have spent about $56,000 on this journey, and this has been paid completely out of pocket for me since my insurance doesn't cover between my first egg freezing cycle, my 3 failed IUIs, and then my IVF and the shared risk program. It is nice knowing that I do not have any other expenses except for the meds that I will pay when I do a transfer. So that's good. And my debt is basically paid off from all of the fertility stuff. I've eliminated that credit card that I opened up. So that is good and a huge relief, but it is a lot of money and it is a big sacrifice. But I know it's all gonna be worth it in the end. I hope this helps if anyone's considering this journey. Again, these costs are only costs that I've personally experienced based on my insurance coverage, which is nothing, and my clinic that I'm going through. And obviously I have additional expenses because of donor sperm. And then, you know, you don't necessarily have to do all the IUIs first. They are much more affordable. My IUIs were only $2,000. And so that's why I wanted to try the IUIs first, but ultimately we're here, and I'm very happy that I am here because I do have 6 embryos frozen, and I'm hoping that that will give me at least 1 child and possibly a sibling in the future if I want more than 1. But if you have any questions, like I said, let me know in the comment section down below. Happy to help any way that I can and answer any questions that you have. I know that the financial piece of this can be a big stress, but it will all be worth it in the end. So I'll see you guys in my next one.